Now, there are multiple ways to build flows for Kestra. The most common one you'll see is building it directly inside of the platform using the flow editor. However, that's not the only way. Some people would prefer to build them locally in things like VS Code, and we've actually got updates to the VS Code plugin that will allow you to be able to build your flows and easily send them to your Kestra instance. Let's check those out. Now in VS Code, if you head over to the extension marketplace, you'll be able to find the Kestra plugin. Install this, and the latest version is currently 1.0.4, which has a load of new enhancements that I'm going to show off. Now this plugin will work in tangent with your Kestra instance, so it's really important that we get that connected to VS Code. Now, we can have a look here, and there's a few settings that we need to add to the settings configuration inside of VS Code. We can do that by clicking onto the gear in the bottom left and clicking settings. And then we can search for Kestra and we'll see a few of those settings, such as the tenant and the URL of your Kestra instance. Now, if I click settings.json here, we can edit these two. As you can see, my VS Code is pretty bland, but you can see here, I've got those two things set up here with the URL of my Kestra instance, as well as the tenant, which by default is main, unless you've maybe specified something else on the Enterprise Edition. Now that I've done that, I can go to my Explorer to see the files that I have. And now, once you first do that, it will prompt you to sign into Kestra. If you don't get that prompt, don't worry. You can actually use the command palette and type Kestra here, and you can see that you can then re-prompt it to sign you in. So if I click sign in here, I can use basic auth, which is useful for things like the open source edition, but I can also use something like an API token, which is what I have done here. Now, once you're connected, we can open up an example flow like I have here. I can make that a little bit bigger. Now, we've got a few things in that top right-hand corner to help us out here. We've got, first of all, the Kestra documentation. Looks quite similar to what you would find in the platform when you go to the flow editor, which looks a little bit like this. I could, for example, just create a new flow, click save, and what we're going to have here, similar experience. If I click on the task, I can see it on the right hand side there, and if I create new tasks, it will show me the documentation for those tasks. But if you don't want to write it in Kestra, for example, you might be building locally inside of a Git repository, and you may be using tools like Claude Code to be able to help generate some of that. So being able to build it locally in your own custom dev environment that you're familiar with, has your shortcuts, is connected to your Git repository directly, then you can move it over to Kestra once you're happy. And I'll show you a few tips on how to do that shortly. Anyway, going back to this, as you can see, when I click onto the different tasks, you can see I click onto log, it comes up with a log task, and so on. Now, another cool feature as well is there is the topology view as well. So here you can see it's loading the topology, and now I've got the topology view for this workflow. This workflow is not that exciting, but we can see it there in action. Now, another really cool feature with this plugin is you can also run your workflows. So first of all, we can actually save it to Kestra. So this is called my flow. We can see it's just saved it into Kestra. So if I go to flows, we can see my flow has now appeared. We can see that this has no executions, but I can actually execute it directly from VS Code too, which is pretty neat. So save and run flow. I can see it's going to ask me for an input, which is we have there with no default value. My name is Will, in case you didn't know that. And if I click execute here, we'll see it has successfully done it. I can actually refresh the data here, and immediately that execution appears. So this means you can build and test your Kestra flows directly inside of your development environment, which is pretty neat. And if we go to overview, we can see that it was executed from the API. So you've got that sort of history of how this was triggered as well, if you're into that. Now, the other really interesting thing as well is you can actually run this without it necessarily being inside of Kestra. So if I go back to flows, I delete the my flow inside of Kestra. If I now go back to VS Code and click run, and I give it a different name such as Jill, and click execute, it's going to add it to Kestra. So if we give this a refresh, we'll see it's come back. The execution data is obviously still there because we didn't delete that. And I can now click in here and we can see Jill was the input added, and we can see again executed from that API. Pretty neat. Now, the plugin doesn't stop there. It's not just a case of showing you the topology and the documentation. There's also some autocomplete too. So let's say I want to add another task, such as hello. I can now add a type, and we can, if I put in log here, you'll see it's going to suggest the log task. But I could suggest other things too, such as the Python task. So here we've got the Python script task. I can type in script, and I could do something like hello world, like so. Now let's try running this one, running it now. We've got a new revision here. I'll give it my name again. We'll click execute. We'll see that it's going to run all of those different things. We're going to see it has successfully run it. If we go back to this workflow, we can see new workflow, Topology's got that hello task, and we can see it's added it directly here. So it's got a really nice connection here of being able to develop locally and immediately see those changes reflected in the platform. Now, if you want to, you also have other ways of doing this. You could use things like Kestra CTL, which is the command line prompt we've got for being able to interact with the Kestra instance. This gives you a little bit more control over how you want to interact with that instance. You don't necessarily have to just update it individually. You've got a little bit more control. So if you're interested in that, we have a dedicated video to that I'll link here. That's another good way. Now, I also mentioned about using things like Claude Code. So for example, we've got a bunch of different agent skills, such as the Kestra flow skill. So I've told it here to create a basic ETL pipeline that doesn't rely on external services. If I now run that, it's running it directly inside of my repository. It's going to use the Kestra flow skill, which if you're not familiar, that uses the Kestra schema. So it knows exactly what a valid flow looks like. So if you're doing local development where you want to be able to iterate with something like Claude Code, be able to write it manually, but you have that syntax highlighting, that autocomplete, that validation engine, you've got all of that. That's another thing that actually reminds me. I can also do expressions in here. So I can do inputs.name. It knows that that's an expression. So if I was to run this again, we can see I could just say Bob here, click execute, and we'll see that it does in fact run. Go to executions. We have a new execution, and we can see it was able to get that input correct. Now we can see that Claude Code is still working away. Here's an example I made earlier. We'll bring that over here. As you can see, I gave it a similar sort of prompt. It's given me some inputs here. It's given me a bunch of different tasks. I can use that topology view to sort of help us visualize what's going on. So we can see the different tasks and what order they run. We can see they run sequentially. There's no sort of branching in this scenario. And then I can send this over to Kestra if I want to be able to then view it inside of that. Now the thing as well is if I was to create another example here, so example.yaml, and I just create a example, we put it in the namespace company.team, and then we do our tasks. Now you'll notice something quite interesting, right? If I now try and save this to Kestra, it will throw an error. It tells me here that the message can't be null. So that is another example of that validation with this extension in VS Code. So it knows that I need that. Now I can type message here, and we can see that it's going to auto-complete that for me, and then I can say hello like so. Now it will let me save that. We can see it saved it to Kestra. So now if I pop over here, click flows, we'll see we've got example in here. We'll be able to see under edit that it has in fact worked. So I think this is a really good way for being able to develop quickly locally, especially if your Kestra flows live within a repository with other things. This works really well as well if you have a bunch of scripts that you run locally, you develop locally, such as Python scripts that your Kestra flows reference. This is a great way for being able to write those locally as well as write your flows in the same editor without having to switch between Kestra and VS Code. Works really well for that scenario. And then it means you can use a tool like Kestra CTL or the Kestra Ops skill, which uses Kestra CTL, to be able to take those namespace files and upload them to your Kestra instance. So works really nicely in that regard. So that's a quick tour of the new Kestra extension for VS Code. I'd love to hear in the comments below how you're going to use this to build your Kestra flows. Are you team building in the platform, or do you prefer to build in your own local development environment? Let me know in the comments below.